This story is about an adventure my friends and I had recently where we searched for an ancient Miwok village site. To find this site, we used a special map that I had created. I call it the Forbidden Map because several archaeologists that I showed it to advised me that it provided too much information that could fall into the wrong hands. As a result of their warnings, the partially redacted map in this video doesn't show any recognizable landmarks. However, I think some people would be interested in how the map was made. So, one of the tools necessary for this method of map making is Photoshop, or some sort of similar computer program. The other tool necessary is Google Earth. With these tools, anyone who wanted to do their own research could at least be able to utilize this map-making method to make their search easier.
Well, Phil, Tyler, and I are out in the wilds, and we have this map right here. And as you can take a look at this, it doesn't look like much in terms of some directions or recognizable landmarks. And that's intentional, because where we're going, the Indian village that we're trying to get to, is something that we don't want to have available. We don't want to have the knowledge as to exactly where we're going available to the general public. But this map, with the GPS coordinates associated with it, will take us hopefully directly to where this village is.
The general location of the Miwok village that we are looking for is documented in the historical records. However, the exact site of the village has never been discovered. Now, you might think that if you know the general area, it shouldn't be too hard to find the exact site. Now, this would be true if what you were looking for was easily visible. The problem in this quest is that there is very little evidence that still exists for a village over 170 years old with no stone buildings of any kind. The only evidence for a village left on the surface of the ground are holes in bedrock. These holes are bedrock mortars. They were used to process food, especially acorns. Now, there are several problems with finding these bedrock mortars. The first is that you usually can't see them until you are very close, almost right on top of them. Secondly, they are often obstructed by a layer of dirt, vegetation, and/or forest debris. And thirdly, bedrock mortars in or near creeks can often become hidden by gravel flows or by deep water during periods of high flows.
But we're not going to do any digging today. We're just looking for obvious evidence that's on the surface. And there's a lot of territory here where it could possibly be if you didn't have a map. If you didn't have a map that gave you the specific location, at least theoretically where it is. I don't know for sure if it really is there or not. But based on the map, that's what we're hoping for. All right, according to my GPS coordinates that I derived from that map, we're getting very close to where the village would have been. I see an area right over here that looks pretty good in terms of it being nice and close to the creek, nice and flat, level ground there. And over here, we've got some outcropping of rock. This is where the bedrock mortars might be. Getting really close to the GPS coordinates that I obtained from the map. Let's see, this would be the spot. I think the rock looks right. The coordinates are just right. Ah, there they are. Look at those bedrock mortars there. Unquestionably, there's a whole bunch of them here. Some of them are easy to see. Others have been filled in with dirt and there's grass growing in them. And look how close it is to this nice, large, flat area. This is probably where the village was, right here. Let's swing back around, take a look at the evidence. Here's some examples of bedrock mortars that you can barely see. They're the round green circles in the rock where dirt has filled in the holes and then grass has grown in the dirt. But everything matches up. This is where the coordinates lead us to. There's physical evidence of bedrock mortars, and in terms of the terrain and water, everything is here. This is just what was needed for a village.
Well, Phil, Tyler, and I had a great day of discovery. In addition, a report of our find was written up to be included in the confidential state archives. For those of you who are interested, the rest of the video is about how to create a very special type of map. The first step is to find a map that has a site you want to explore, but the map lacks the details necessary to locate it exactly. For example, many old maps, like this one on gold mines, show many different sites which are not on modern maps. What needs to be done next is to copy the map to your computer and then crop the image to create a close-up of the area of interest. This close-up must still contain at least 2 anchor points that exist both on the old map and in Google Earth. Anchor points are very specific points, such as river junctions, and they are important for aligning map layers later. The basic procedure is to put a Google Earth image of the area of interest on top of the cropped image of the old map. The anchor points allow you to align the 2 images. This is done by creating layers in Photoshop. The step-by-step process of creating a layered composite map is rather complex, so it is not covered entirely in this video. It would just take too much time. However, especially those that are familiar with Photoshop should be able to get the basic idea from the following examples. The map we used to find the Miwok village was created by using 3 layers. The first layer is in black, and it's from the old map. Layers 2 and 3 were created in Photoshop using a Google Earth image of the area of interest. Layer 2 showed all of the Google Earth image, but critical information that would be needed to locate the village was traced onto a 3rd layer. Specifically, the yellow path of the river, the yellow dot, and the red dot are the result of information from layer 2 being traced onto layer 3. Layer 2 had so much non-relevant information that it was difficult to clearly see the important information. Therefore, layer 2 is deselected, leaving only layer 3 visible. Next, layer 3 is put on top of layer 1, and the 2 layers are aligned by adjusting the size of image 3 and positioning it to match up to the anchor points on both layers. Once this is done, a scale for the cropped map has to be calculated. This can be done easily by using Google Earth to measure the mileage between any 2 known points on the map. Then measure the inches this distance represents on a paper copy of the map, just printed out. Now the miles per inch can then be calculated. With this mileage information and the general direction of the village from the red dot river junction, you then use Google Earth to search for an indication of what you're looking for. For example, in our search for a Native American village, the specific clue we were looking for was an outcropping of bedrock near a water source. The final step is to use Google Earth to determine the GPS coordinates of the most likely site, so that site can be actually explored on the ground. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it interesting and perhaps even helpful in your pursuit of adventures.